This right here is Sonja Plaggenlapp. In 1776, the first daily Swedish newspaper was introduced. It was called Dagligt Allehanda, and she was against it. This brings us too much information, she wrote. It will fill up our heads with nonsense, and we won't be able to make sense of it all. 200 years later, the internet has happened. And now I'm starting to feel a lot like her. So, the internet didn't only open up the floodgates of information. It also gave all of us the power to mass distribute it. In this very moment, we're experiencing the revolution of public publishing. Each and every one of us have the power of a journalist now. The question is if we also have the knowledge of one. Over the span of the last 500 years, we've seen a steady acceleration of information. With each new innovation, print press, the radio, the phone, more turbo has been added. But we ourselves continue to be the same primitive species, with the same primitive system of sorting that information. We're still sorting information after whether it supports what we already believe or not. And in a situation where publishing stuff takes mere seconds and can be done by everybody, that makes a dramatic difference. If you see an article that backs up the worldview you already got, you're much more likely to press share, retweet, or like. And this gave birth to a new phenomenon called the viral rumor. Picture this. If the world was but a village with 100 inhabitants, then 11 of them would be homosexual. 50 of them would be malnourished. 70 of them would be illiterate. How does that sound to you? This was the claim of a Swedish blog post, pictured there, that went incredibly viral in April of 2014. It's kind of easy to understand why. It's a very compelling image of the world we live in, our place in the world, and also the great injustices of the world that we all seem to know about but never really talk about. But the thing is, almost every single fact claim of that blog post was entirely wrong, just completely made up. There is, of course, no way to know how many in the world is homosexual. And the true numbers are that not 50, but 15 out of 100 are malnourished. And today, 9 out of 10 can read. The last time 70% of the world's population was illiterate was in the 18th century. The facts of this blog post were, at certain points, hundreds of years old. Still, we happily shared it. Statistically, someone in this room shared it. I'm not going to point anyone out, but you did. Because it touched your soft spot. It corresponded with your worldview. It made sense to you. It felt probable. This means something. Picture just one person spreading a lie or a misunderstanding. It could effectively influence your conviction and your bias. Now, picture the same being done by thousands. Daily. Another way to look at shareable stories and viral myths, such as this, is to picture them sort of like the folklore of our time. A couple of 100 years ago, parents back in Sweden, here, would tell their kids to watch out for the brook horse. The brook horse. It's a mythical white horse that would lure kids up on its back and then drown the kids by jumping into deep waters. A very good way of saying, watch out for deep waters. Why would a loving mom or a loving dad tell their child a scary story like that? Well, because it was effective. Way more effective than just saying, water is dangerous. What story would you rather hear? The brook horse is a way better story because we love stories that play on what we're afraid of. legends that scare us. And the same makes these stories highly shareable. A modern example of this would be the smartphone app Talking Angela. Talking Angela, it's a kids app in which a cat is sitting in a cafe in Paris. Does anyone know? Do you recognize her? Some of you do. I guess the parents do. This cat chat app is moderately intelligent. It will chat with your kid. It will play small games with your kid. It will ask your son or daughter, "What's your name?" And your son or daughter will reply, "Lars," or "Lisa," depending on. And then the app will, pick up the name and write back, "Good to meet you, Lars," or "Lisa." Several times during the last couple of years, there has been international rumors about this app claiming that it was hacked by a pedophile. The rumors said that just this one pedophile guy sitting somewhere in the world, chatting up millions of kids the world over. Why would a rumor like that go viral? This was viral in bigger parts of the world. Why would it go viral? Well, because what do we know about what a cell phone can do? I mean, the last time you heard about someone doing something with their cell phone was probably in the news, where it said that NSA can do or see whatever they want to on your phone. Why wouldn't a hacking pedophile be able to do the same? We don't know. But I do believe, though, that the most basic reason for this rumor to go viral is laughably simple, and it has to do with kind of a warning bell that goes off anytime we hear something that we are taught to be warned about. What's the first thing any parent will tell their kid not to ever do online? The very first thing. Whatever you do online, don't ever give out your name. And do you remember what the first thing Angela the cat asks kids for? "Hello, what's your name?" And like that, a brook horse of the internet is born. We're still folklore diggers. We still love folklore as much as we did hundreds of years ago, just like kids longing for a good story. There is more to public publishing than its folklore roots, though. Every time, even when a lie or a viral rumor gets exposed, some people still see the value of it. As a journalist myself, scrutinizing viral rumors, I see this all the time. Just a couple of weeks ago, there was this story circulating that claimed that a 10-year-old girl had gotten detention in school because she supposedly had an iPhone cover with a Swedish flag on it. And her teacher said that it was racist. And people got so very upset by this. "You can't have the Swedish flag nowadays because then you're a racist." This story was completely false. Very, very fake. A very, very fake story. And it was thoroughly debunked by many, including me. Still, this one guy just wouldn't budge. This one guy wrote a Facebook comment to this story saying, it was screenshotted and then circulated, went around on social media, and many people laughed about it. What he said was, "I don't care if it's fake, it's still messed up." Implicitly, what people like him are saying is that even if this particular instance might be fake, it still points to a wider trend that's true, and therefore it's relevant. What these people haven't understood is the power of public publishing, a power they now possess. They haven't understood why journalists over the span of 100 years have developed ethical rules. They haven't understood where the saying that the pen is mightier than the sword actually derives from. For heaven's sake, just in February of this year, there was this fake letter, supposedly from the Swedish Minister of Defense to the Ukrainian Minister of Defense, claiming that Sweden were selling artillery weapons to Ukraine. The letter was fake, but still, it was taken seriously on social media, and renowned US newspapers called Swedish journalists about it to see, "Are you selling guns to Ukraine? What?" And at this point, we're no longer talking about just fake stuff on the internet being fake. We're talking about cyber propaganda, internet information warfare. It's that simple. Now, perhaps more than ever, we need to realize that with everything we post on social media, we either make the information environment better or we make it worse. To yet again quote our 18th century friend, Sonja Pluggenlapp, every time you permeate a lie, you release a pestilence. All through the destructive, misleading, destructive and disrespecting force of a really juicy rumor. This is what I think we need to do. First off, I think we should stop talking about posting and sharing stuff on social media and start describing it for what it really is, public publishing. We should make it clear that each and every posted state, tweet, or link could have a profound effect, and that effect lies in the responsibility for that effect lies in the hand of the social media users alone. Public publishing means taking responsibility for what you post. An easy way to start would be not to post and write about everything we see the same second as we discover it. I talked earlier about information acceleration, and guess what? We're lagging behind. Do you remember back in the dawn of time before the internet, what we had to do if we were angry about something and we wanted to share that anger? What we had to do was go to the store and buy ourselves an envelope and a stamp and go home and sit down at our desk and put the paper down and write a letter to that person we were angry at about what we were angry about, and then put the paper in the envelope and put the stamp on and realized that it had become too late in the evening to go post it. So we had to go to bed, wake up the following morning, make ourselves a cup of coffee, go to the postal office, and by then, sometimes we realized that we weren't even angry anymore. I don't know. We had scrutinized ourselves and realized that is it such a big deal after all? No. Today, that time is eliminated. We no longer take that time. We share and write stuff the same second as we feel and experience it. And there are victims for just that. Author and TED talker Jon Ronson writes and talks about people who, for one reason or another, becomes publicly shamed. You know, a badly worded joke goes viral, and all of a sudden, one person's life is destroyed. And to think, if we were just to indulge in a few seconds of pause before clicking tweet or retweet, stuff like this might never have happened. Secondly, we should teach our kids about the values of journalistic ethics. We should teach our kids about basic journalism in primary school. That so many of us are able to publish stuff online is a great thing, and we should treat it as such, as a great opportunity. We should teach the people that are about to control and change the world the values of checking facts, detecting biases, basic journalistic ethics, respect for the reader. Not only because it benefits them, but because it benefits journalism. In a time and age where the trust and respect for journalism is destroyed by powers that wants to conquer the information environment. If we teach our kids how much work that goes into one single journalistic effort, it would both raise their trust for journalism and force us journalists to do a better job. After all, bad journalism is like bad food. If the consumers are educated to recognize it, to smell it, they won't buy it. Lastly, the public today, you guys, we have easy access to a better research tool than ever before in the history of mankind, and today I regret to inform you we're not using it as much as we should. Google, DuckDuckGo, Bing. Just throwing it out there. Whatever search engine you're accustomed to, use it more, please. I've had to write about rumors so enormously stupid you won't be able to imagine it. Just about a year ago, one of the most respected, most well-read newspapers in all of Sweden published an article claiming that Attila the Hun had been found. This is not the article of the Swedish newspaper, but it is the article they based their own article on. This article claimed that, quote unquote, construction workers building the foundations of a new bridge over the Danube River in Budapest have unearthed a spectacular 5th century crypt. The analysis of the monument inside revealed the burial chamber of a great Hunnic leader, most likely that of King Attila himself. And then in this respected Swedish newspaper, I read that this site is absolutely incredible, explains historian Albrecht Rymstein, according to worldnewsdailyreport.com. So, not to mention the absolutely ridiculous source, have you guys ever heard about worldnewsdailyreport.com getting any Pulitzer Prizes? No, I guess you have not. Not to mention the absolutely ridiculous source. If you were to Google Albrecht Rymstein, you would find him on one single place on the entire internet. Would you guess where? worldnewsdailyreport.com. Please start Googling names. Don't misunderstand me here. I'm still hopeful. Because we are not only a primitive species who still believe in almost everything we hear, who pass stupid rumors on, sometimes even if we know they're fake. We're also sentient beings. Sentient beings that want nothing else for the world than a better world for tomorrow. And a way to achieve that is acting responsibly when publishing on social media. Thinking before we do it. Giving ourselves the time to actually understand what we are reading, as well as educating all these virtues to our kids. And by doing that, I think we might achieve a better world for tomorrow. I really hope so. One last time, let me quote Sonja Plagenlapp. Our friend Sonja. Information is like wine. We need to pick and choose both the brand and the amount to have ourselves a good picnic. The best interpretation of that, I believe, would be just Google what you hear, because it might turn out to be fake. Thank you.